I did want to kind of stick with the playoffs and the regular season as a whole. So, what do you think the biggest learning experience was this season and in the postseason?
Whew. I think the biggest experience that they learned is the little details matter so much. Like I remember like even just brief moments where like Asar would like he was guarding Brunson and I think he looked away for like 2 seconds, not even 2 seconds. And Brunson had the ball in his hand, it immediately darts to the lane and blows right by him. I feel like those little details matter and mean so much. It can change so much in a series, in a game. We kind of saw it be, fixed in terms of their regular season. In the regular season, they really, really struggled in the beginning of the year to close games in the fourth quarter. Like they were terrible at it the first, like maybe 10, 15 to 20 games, but they did a really good job of finding a rhythm, finding a way to play with the lead and finding a way to respond to runs, leaning on defense, leaning on transition buckets, and leaning to their identity as well instead of trying to play keep up, which a lot of other teams do. Like if you're playing against a team like the Celtics, oh, they're shooting 33s, we got to get 33s up too. The Pistons did a really good job of sticking to what works for them and playing their game. So if they find the ability to kind of hone in on the consistency and the repetition of those little details like fighting over screens, blocking out to make sure you're limiting the opportunity of an offensive rebound, um, you know, turnovers, just simple little things like that, just those little kind of details I think come with time and just repetition, which they already were finding a way to develop before Ivy's injury. So again, even without that, they were still able to push the Knicks to 6 games, lose a game that kind of came down to officiating more so than them just being outplayed by another team. Like I don't care what Knicks Twitter was saying. Like y'all can be proud of your win, but you can't stamp and say that you just outplayed the Pistons all 6 games. That didn't happen. Those little things came into play. That inexperience came into play, and they were just in little spurts in like moments where Brunson was able to show why he was clutch player of the year, or why Cat was able to take advantage of certain mismatches or certain things like that. I think that was the biggest experience. Obviously, I think depth matters as well because Cade was 100% playing tired by the end of the year. By the end of that postseason run, you could just tell he wasn't playing or shooting with the same lift. He wasn't dunking as often as we saw him do, earlier in the year, in the middle of the season. I just think those are the biggest takeaways, and I think they have enough continuity within their roster to build on that and be a bigger force and threat in the postseason next year.
Yeah, I think you're right there with the attention to detail. I think 2 areas where they're gonna learn from is boxing out, because for a team that collectively rebounded the basketball pretty well, there were so many times, especially in the playoffs and in the regular season, where they would just look to see who was gonna rebound the ball.
Yep.
Like, they didn't crash the glass collectively, um, and I think that's an area of improvement for them. I also think turnovers are a huge thing where not every turnover I think is equal. I think there are certain turnovers where you're watching it and you're like, why did you try to force a pass when there's 3 guys in a lane right now?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's little stuff like that where like they could have easily, instead of winning a game by 3 points, they could have won the game by 10 points. Also think free throws collectively as a team, they could have got better. Like when I saw Malik Beasley was
Yeah.
shooting over 40% from three and like barely 70% from the free throw line. It made no sense to me. Um, but I think those are 3 areas in improvement with this team that where they can work on it this off season of, being more conscious of crashing the glass, taking better care of the basketball, and just, attention to detail and also locking in. Don't lock in the second and third quarter. Like when the game starts at 7, be ready at 7.
Mm-hmm. There's 2 plays specifically I'm thinking of in terms of boxing out. The Mikal Bridges tip back in Game 6 was huge. Like you don't get to Brunson's jump shot without that tip in by him. And then there was another play they had. I think it was the same game, maybe Game 4. I don't know if it was Bridges or Brunson that missed the shot. They missed a three, and then I think it was Schroeder and Asar that were just staring at the ball, and it just led it thinking, oh, you're going to get it, you're going to get it. Like, it didn't seem like they had any kind of activity to go get the ball. And I think Josh Hart was able to come off and get it, and then they scored on the second chance opportunity. That was huge for them. And I'm so happy you said free throws. There was a stretch where Cade and Ivy were shooting under 80% from the free throw line before the All-Star break. Completely unacceptable for those two. That is a huge point of emphasis they need to work on. It's even the veterans too. Like, I think Tim Hardaway missed a lot of huge free throws in some certain stretches. Beasley missed a lot. Like, it was some guys you just wouldn't be expecting to kind of be, I don't want to say like a hindrance, but they were just missing very important free throws in huge stretches of these kind of games. The Knicks were not doing that. You know, even like when they were doing the Hacker Robinson, he was able to at least get you one. He was able to get you one free throw out of that. So yeah, those are huge points. I'm glad you brought free throws into the fold too. Those are big discipline kind of moments and shots that they need to find a way to be consistent with.
I'm not expecting them to shoot 100% from the free throw line. That's just it's unrealistic. But like, when Asar was getting to the line as much as he was getting in the playoffs against the Knicks, I was like, man, like, even if you hit like 70%, 75%, that game would have been over. They would have been up 10 because he got to the free throw line so much and he was attacking, and the Knicks really didn't know what to do.
Right.
But I think free throws maybe kind of go unnoticed by the fans, but like, obviously rebounding, I think, is very important. Defensive rebounding. I think offensive rebounding, they actually do a pretty good job of, crashing the glass and not rebounding. But I mean, if they can improve on those areas and learn from it this season, I think it'll be a success. And the coaching staff that they have, I think they're probably on these guys' ass like every day with like boxing out, and like, if Duran or Stu gets like taken out of a play, no one else collectively tries to rebound the basketball. It's like the wildest thing to me. It's like they'll be under the basket and then they're just kind of looking, and I see Cade and Ron try to go for a rebound when it's like almost a half court, and it's just like, you guys got to do a way better job of just trying to crash the glass and go up for those rebounds. Like, don't be afraid to try to go for a rebound at the end of the day. Makes me appreciate Andre Drummond even more, because like, you never saw that when he was here at all. No one was getting a rebound.
Whenever it was anywhere in his range, remember the Carmelo Anthony, I got it, got it here. That's what Trey was like. That if it was in my range, I'm going to get it. Durr did a pretty good job of improving that over the season, especially in the postseason as well. But he did a good job of fighting for extra possessions. But yeah, if they want to be the team that hones in on playing in transition and, maximizing their biggest strength, which is their speed and athleticism, you have to box out every single time. One of the biggest points I made before the series started was, don't let Josh Hart be the best role player of this series. If he's the best role player by a wide margin, you have no chance of winning this series. Yeah. He was doing a really good job of crashing the glass, but he was getting in foul trouble a lot too, trying to keep up with Cade and even guarding Asar in certain stretches as well, which, kind of limited his production in certain stretches. So that's definitely a huge emphasis that they need to focus on. And you're right. I think they got the perfect coaches to make sure that that's not going to be a point of emphasis or issue heading into next season.
Yeah, or maybe you add someone in free agency that has a little bit more size in the front court, and you don't have to worry about rebounds as much. You never know at the end of the day.